Three sisters named Sarah, Shabnam and Nadia. Their misery started when Sarah was 11 years old, Shabnam was 9 years old, and their little sister Nadia was 4 years old. They had a very bad economy because having an alcoholic and gambler fathers. Their mother had to go to clean people's houses every morning until evening to get a bite of bread. Their father was always stealing and had a relationship with some of his friends who were like him, and some days they would bring their friends home and gamble and bet with them. One day, Sarah's father, who had planned everything in advance, sends Sarah's mother to the midwife's house. Their father brings their friends home. Sarah, Nadia and Shabnam are in the room and their father comes. He forcibly takes Shabnam and Nadia to his friend. He comes to Sarah himself and he approaches Sarah and takes off her clothes. 11-year-old Sarah tries hard to get away from him with her weak hands, but it can't. Her father continues to work with a horrified and violent face until Sarah passes out. A few moments later, Sarah wakes up, unable to get up. He sees that everywhere is covered with blood. Only a blanket is thrown over his head. Sarah wants to go up, but she can't, and is sent back down. Sarah starts yelling, "Mommy, Mommy," but no one answers at this time. She remembers Nadia and Shabnam, and shouts, "Shabnam, Shabnam, Nadia, Nadia," but no one answers. She cries and screams like this for several hours, until her father comes and sits on the edge of the room. A few hours later, morning comes, and Sarah's mother arrives and starts screaming when she sees Sarah. Sarah wakes up with her mother's screams, sees her mother standing over her, and says, "What happened to my daughter?" Sarah explains everything to him. Her mother also goes to another room to find Shabnam. When her mother is faced with a terrible scene, she screams, and with her mother's scream, Sarah also goes to her mother. She sees that Shabnam's condition is worse than Sarah. Sarah's mother, with trembling hands, cleans everything, gives medicine to her children, cooks food for her children, despite crying, and complains to God. Days, weeks and months passed, but there was no sign of the father. He didn't come home, and their condition is get worse day by day. Due to poor economy, Sarah's family, none of their relatives greeting with their after some days, this wild animal, father, who destroyed their life, comes home. And Sarah's mother starts beating her husband. Her husband falls at her feet and begs for forgiveness. Sarah's mother also forgives her husband. This is where Sarah hates her mother. Sarah is still young. She did not know what her mother was planning and what she wanted to do with Sarah's father. Even though Sarah was not very old, she had a mountain of hatred in her heart. Not only did she hate her father, but her sad mother as well, as Sarah wondered why her mother had not told any of her relatives or the government about their condition. They no live in village, they lived in a city in northern Afghanistan. Sarah was very afraid of her father. Every moment she spent under the same roof with her father was like years. There was no one to help them. They had many economic and mental problems. After some day, Sarah's mother decided to go back to work. Sarah's mother left their daughters in a neighboring house and told them that she would be back soon. When their mother goes to work. A few minutes later, the neighbors saw their father at home. The neighbor decides to send Sarah and she's sisters back their home. Fate did something to their little sister's 4-year-old Nadia that humans could not see in this state. When the father sees that his daughters have come home again, he calls 2 men who are hungry for sex and asks them to come to her house. When these men come, Sarah's father rapes Shabnam and surrenders Sarah to one of these men. And he surrenders Nadia, who is still 4 years old, to another man. These men are like wild animals, and they have no heart for little Nadia. At first, little Nadia and 2 other sisters scream a lot, but no one hears a sound. After an hour, Sarah sees little Nadia's body in her father's arms in the yard. Nadia died from the effects of man's rape. The rapist man, who finds out about Nadia's death, becomes angry and takes a lot of money out of his pocket and beats him face and is ashamed. Sarah's father was also very scared, and threw Nadia's body in the well. Sarah started screaming and crying, seeing this situation. And he quickly went to Shabnam and saw that Shabnam was in a very bad condition and was lying on the mattress. After throwing Nadia's body in the well, Sarah and Shabnam stayed at home and her father left the house. Their mother comes, but it was too late. Everything was over. Sarah and Shabnam tell their mother everything and show Nadia's cemetery in the well to her mother. And he tells his mother that they threw Nadia in the well, and she is in that well. Their mother starts screaming, runs to the well, and she slap own face, pulls own hair, bangs own head against the wall. But there is no other benefit. Because of this, their mother's mental state was ruined. Even her children were afraid of her. Sarah and Shabnam were hungry and thirsty day and night. Their mother only. Some days he would go to the shop and borrow food for his children. One day Sarah's mother left the house in the morning and did not come to dinner. Sarah and Shabnam wondered where their mother was. When it gets dark, their mother enters the house with their father. Sarah and Shabnam are very scared. Their father had bought a lot of food for the house. Sarah and Shabnam wondered why their mother brought that animal, their father, home. They did not sleep day and night for few. After 3 or 4 days, when Shabnam was sleeping and Sarah woke up in the morning, she sees that her mother is not with her. Sarah went to look for her mother. When Sarah saw her mother kill her father with a bloody axe and cut him to pieces, Sarah started screaming and thought she was dreaming, but it was true. Sarah's mother tells her, "Sarah, do you remember how your fathers killed your sister, Nadia, and threw her in the middle of the well?" Poor Sarah says, "Yes, I remember." Her mother says, "Come, my daughter. Your father did not deserve to live. He should have died." His mother says, "Come, Sarah, help me to throw his body in the well." Sarah goes with her mother and collects all the pieces of her father's body in plastic and throws them in the well. Both of them did not sleep until morning and looked at each other in the morning. Their mother left to find another place to live. They looked for another house until a few days passed. He felt the smell of the well, and its smell spread everywhere. Neighbors gathered one after the other and finally realized that the bad smell from their house, and everyone came inside the house and asking. Her mother told everything, and she says, calling the police. It wasn't long before several cars, the police comes and arrests Sarah's mother within several hours, and when the police sees the 2 little sisters, Sarah and Shabnam, there's no one relatives there. He takes them with him. After 2 or 3 months, his mother was sentenced to life imprisonment in the first court and 24 years in the second court, and the third court also sentenced her to 24 years in prison. Megha, Sarah, and Shabnam was taken to an orphanage that was supported by the American and Germany countries in the Afghanistan. Mother's trial, it gets shorter for any occasion, that is, on special days of the year, such as Eid, Women's Day, or once because of the how many children that women have. He got a discount, and his mother was released after 7 to 8 years. His mother's release, because she had no place to live, she didn't even take their daughters from the orphanage, and she herself continues to live in Sarah's midwifery home. While Sarah was a clever girl, she got a scholarship in America, and through this orphanage, she went to America, and her sister, Shabnam, went to India to continue her education. And now it's only a few days until Sarah brings her beloved mother to America. Sarah says, "Thank God 1,000 times, everything passed and got better. The scary nightmare that my father created for us passed quickly, and I am grateful to my mother. Despite her many shortcomings, my mother was able to avenge us. Otherwise, maybe the same situation or worse will continued until now." If you want me to tell you other real hands stories, subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell.